Everyone knows the quote. A crusading army stood before a city full of Catholics and heretics, and a papal legate was asked how to tell them apart. "Kill them all," he supposedly said. "God will know his own." Here is the honest version. No eyewitness records those words. And the truth beneath them is worse. The Albigensian Crusade was preached by Pope Innocent III against the Cathars of southern France, a rival Christianity the Church had failed to argue out of existence and now proposed to burn out of it. Béziers, on July 22nd, 1209, was its first major engagement. The Crusaders' terms were carried into the town by its own bishop, with a list in his hand, 222 names. The town's accused heretics, perhaps 2% of its people. Surrender them, and the town lives, or let the Catholics walk out and leave the heretics to the army. The townspeople of Béziers, overwhelmingly Catholic, refused to hand over their neighbors. The pro-crusade chronicle of the campaign records their answer. They would sooner be drowned in the salt sea. There was no siege. According to the crusade's own chroniclers, the assault began when the army's unarmed camp servants stormed the walls on their own initiative, after defenders killed a crusader at the bridge. The knights followed the mob in. The town fell in, by the legate's own estimate, 2 to 3 hours. What followed was killing without categories. The chronicle records women and children slain in the churches. The clergy had put on their vestments and rung the bells for the dying. The church of St. Mary Magdalene, where much of the town had fled, became a slaughterhouse. Then the town was burned. There was no examination of anyone's theology that morning. That is the fact under the famous quote, "Whoever said it." The heretics were never sorted from the faithful, because nobody tried. Now, the quote, held honestly, "Kill them all, God will know his own," appears in no contemporary account of Béziers, not in the chronicles, not in the legate's own report. Its sole source is a book of monastic miracle stories, written a decade or more later by a monk 1,000 kilometers away who never set foot in the region, and who himself hedges. The legate, he writes, is reported to have said it. The same passage claims Béziers held more than 100,000 men, roughly 10 times its actual population. Modern historians of the Crusade class, the quote as apocryphal. We do not print legends as receipts. But Arnaud Amalric did write something, and we have it. His dispatch to Pope Innocent III weeks after the massacre. In it, the legate reports that the Crusaders killed nearly 20,000 persons, sparing neither sex nor age, and frames the destruction as divine judgment. A great miracle worked against a den of heretics. No regret, no distinction between the 222 accused and the thousands of Catholics who died refusing to betray them. The number itself is a boast that outruns arithmetic. Béziers held perhaps 8 to 14,000 people in total. Historians judge the true toll far lower. One leading scholar argues most of the town's people in fact survived, since Béziers functioned as a major town immediately after. So the honest accounting runs like this. The dead cannot be counted. The perpetrator claimed 20,000 and called it holy. The defensible statement is that a Catholic army massacred the population of a Catholic town without distinction in the churches in a morning. The legend put shocking words in the legate's mouth. The record shows something colder. Nobody needed to say them. Now, the thing we will not do. The easy version says the Pope ordered 20,000 people butchered. The record is more uncomfortable in both directions. The massacre appears to have begun as a mob action. The legate's own letter says the camp followers attacked without awaiting the command of the leaders, while the barons were still negotiating to spare the town's Catholics. The famous quote is hearsay. The 20,000 is propaganda, and the fullest accounts of the horror come from the Crusade's own chroniclers, who saw no need to hide it. None of that rescues the enterprise. The crusade was preached, indulgenced, and blessed by the church. The legate answered the slaughter not with penance, but with a body count offered to the Pope as good news. And the campaign it opened ran for 20 more years, through Carcassonne, Minerve, Laveur, and the pyre of Montségur, until the culture of a whole region was broken, and the Inquisition was founded to finish the work. Béziers was not an accident that befell the crusade. It was the crusade shown plainly on its first day. So here is the receipt. On July 22nd, 1209, a crusading army under papal legate Arnaud Amalric took Béziers and massacred its overwhelmingly Catholic population without distinction of age, sex, or creed, for refusing to surrender 222 accused heretics. The legate reported nearly 20,000 dead to the Pope and called it a miracle. The spin says the famous quote is a legend. The mob acted without orders, and the numbers are inflated. The rebuttal: all 3 points are true, and none of them helps. Strike the legend, and you are left with the legate's own signed letter, boasting of indiscriminate slaughter to the head of the church, who continued the crusade. A church that needed the quote to be true would be guilty of one sentence. The church that wrote the letter is guilty of the mourning. No one was punished for Béziers. Arnaud Amalric was made an archbishop, and the quote everyone knows became, over 8 centuries, a soldier's proverb, repeated in wars the church never sanctioned, by men who never heard of the Cathars. History could not verify the words and could not kill them either, because they compress a documented mourning into a single breath. Somewhere under the legend is the letter, in the legate's Latin, patient as a ledger. Neither sex nor age. God, it turned out, was not asked to sort anyone that day. Nobody was.